So you did it. You jumped in, you took the plunge, and you invested in a short-term rental. First off, congratulations. That's a huge step. But while you're building your rental empire, you got to ask yourself a really important question. Have you built a fortress to protect it, or is it just a house of cards waiting for one little gust of wind to knock it all down? Let's dive in.
Okay, let's just get right to the scary part. That dream of financial freedom, of building this amazing portfolio. Well, it can flip into a total nightmare with just one single lawsuit. A guest slips and falls, a tragic accident at the pool, and just like that, everything you've worked for is on the line. Asset protection isn't some fancy extra for the super rich. It is the absolute essential defense for your dream.
You know, the biggest mistake most new investors make, a solid 90% of them, it happens right at the very beginning. It's this tiny error in judgment that can unravel everything and expose not just the rental, but your personal home, your car, your savings, the whole shebang.
And this, right here, is where it all goes wrong for so many people. How you take the title. When you close on that property in your personal name, you're basically taking out a billboard that says, "Hey lawyers, look at me." It creates a public record that anyone can search, and it connects that rental property directly to every other asset you own. It literally paints a massive target on your back.
So you're probably thinking, no big deal, right? I'll just, move it into an LLC later on. Whoa, hold on. Trying to transfer that title after the fact can be a total minefield. A lot of states will smack you with a huge real estate transfer tax. We're talking up to 3% of the property's value. Ouch. Worse, you could trigger your mortgage's due on sale clause, and that gives the bank the right to demand you pay back the entire loan immediately. The solution is just so simple. Do it right from day one. Close in an LLC.
Let's say you did use an LLC. You're smart, you're protected, right? Well, maybe not. It's really easy to get this false sense of security because a few common blunders can make that protection completely useless. It becomes just an illusion that can get shattered the second you step into a courtroom.
And this quote from Jeff Hampton just gets right to the heart of it. Plaintiffs' lawyers, they have a playbook. They have a specific legal strategy they use to just tear down your LLC's defenses and come right after you, personally. It's called piercing the corporate veil.
So what does that actually mean? It's basically when a judge looks at your LLC and says, nope, this isn't a real business. This is just a costume. It's just you wearing a funny hat. And the moment that happens, poof, that legal shield is gone and your personal assets are completely fair game.
So how do they do it? It's actually shockingly simple. They look for sloppiness. Are you swiping the business card to pay for groceries? Bam, that's commingling funds. Did you forget to draft an operating agreement or hold an annual meeting? Well, you failed to follow corporate formalities. If you treat that LLC bank account like your own personal piggy bank, lawyers will argue it's not a real company. It's just your alter ego.
And here's another massive one. I see this all the time. Putting multiple properties into a single LLC. That is just asking for trouble. It's like putting all of your eggs in one very fragile basket. A lawsuit at property A can now drain the equity from properties B and C. That's why the golden rule is this: one property, one LLC. Period. It's the only way to truly isolate your risk.
Okay, so you have your LLCs set up perfectly. You're still not safe. There is another huge trap that so many investors fall into, and it has everything to do with that insurance policy you think is protecting you.
And it all comes down to this one fundamental truth you have to get. You might call your property a second home that you rent out sometimes, but your insurance carrier, they see a business, a commercial enterprise. And that distinction, well, it changes absolutely everything.
Just take a look at this comparison. It's pretty scary. Your standard second home policy probably has a giant flashing no right next to business activity. That means if a paying guest gets hurt, your insurer can just flat out deny the claim, leaving you personally on the hook for everything. A proper commercial policy, though, it's built for this. It has high limit liability. It even covers your lost rental income. That gap you see there, that's a potential multi-million-dollar vulnerability.
All right, enough with the problems. I know, a lot of doom and gloom, but don't worry. Let's talk about the solution. A real asset protection plan isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It's got to scale with your portfolio. And the best way to think about it is a good, better, and best approach to building your financial fortress.
So good is the baseline. This is the bare minimum, right? Each property gets its very own LLC in the state where it sits. Better is where we start getting really smart. You create a holding company, often a Wyoming LLC, that owns all of your other LLCs. And best, well, that's for the bigger portfolios using more advanced structures like a limited partnership for maximum protection. Let's really focus on that better step, because using a holding company gives you two, well, let's call them superpowers. The first one is privacy. Suddenly, when someone searches your property records, they don't see your name. They just see the name of your Wyoming LLC. That makes you a much, much harder target to find.
The second superpower is even more of a game changer. It's called charging order protection. Now, this is a massive headache for lawyers. It means that even if they sue you, and they win, a judge can't force you to sell your property to pay them off. Sure, they might get a lien, but they can't actually take the asset. And if the lawyer knows they can't get paid easily, they're probably not going to take the case.
So what's the whole point of this? What is the end goal? It's not about being invisible or hiding. It's about strategic defense. It's about making yourself and your assets the most unattractive target you can possibly be.
And let's be super clear about this. You can't become a ghost. In a lawsuit, with enough digging, they'll find you. Anonymity is a myth. The goal is to be private. To make it so difficult, so expensive, and so time-consuming to figure out what you own that most lawyers will just give up and go find an easier target.
And it all comes down to this core philosophy. This is the mantra of asset protection. Own nothing, control everything. With the right structure, your personal name isn't on any deeds. The entities own the properties, but you maintain 100% of the control.
So let's put it all together. Here's how you win. You layer your defenses, separate LLCs for each property. You use a holding company that give you privacy and that powerful charging order protection, and you carry a solid commercial insurance policy. The result? A hungry lawyer is going to see that the easy money is a settlement with your insurance company, not a long, expensive fight to get to your assets.
Which brings us to the final and really the most important question. And this one's for you to answer. Looking at your current setup right now, what have you built? Is it an inviting, easy target just waiting for the first lawsuit to come along? Or is it a fortress designed to withstand an attack? The choice is yours.